this in. I'm your cyclopic husband. Oh.
This is what happens when we use the ring light.
What up, ladies and gentlemen?
Welcome to today's YouTube.
Welcome to the YouTube. Again, welcome back for the very first time, second time, whatever.
This is the second time. So,
I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance if you hear snoring. You can see right over there, the doggo.
Right there.
Yep. So the bulldog had to come in here and cuddle with us. So if you hear snoring, that's what it is. And we're hoping it doesn't get too loud. All right. So, anyways.
So, today, what are we talking about?
I don't know.
What are you doing?
Maybe the shirts at 413 Productions.
Oh my gosh! Stop.
Maybe the shirts.
Stop.
Hmm?
Okay. Yes, we know. We know that you have shirts.
I don't know.
Now what are you doing?
I don't know.
We can't even talk about anything serious anymore.
Look, if you listen inside there, you can hear the sea.
It's not a shell.
You can hear the ocean.
It's not a shell.
My wooden leg. Anyways.
Okay, look, I know you want to be a pirate, but it just doesn't work that way.
What are we going to talk about today?
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. I can't stand the hypocrites.
Whoa.
Talk to them, not me. I can't stand the hypocrites. Check it out, y'all. This is one of the things that really drives me nuts.
And not just me. I mean, not just you. Me too.
You're right. One of the things that drives me nuts is not just her. Oh, my gosh. So, anyways, one of the things that absolutely drives me nuts is hypocrites, okay? And granted, look, we're all hypocrites to a certain degree, okay? Everyone has aspects. I mean, we all sin, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So, we all are hypocrites to some degree, right? But what really bothers me is the fact that, I was telling her this earlier, right? I was telling you about, I hate the fact that there's too many people out there that profess to be Christians. They're like, yeah, I'm a Christian. And then they go out and they just do whatever they want, Mm-hmm. And then other people that aren't Christians see that and they're like, well, they're living however they want, so why do I have to go to church and stuff like that? It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I can just do what I want, just like I've been doing. And, it doesn't matter.
But that doesn't mean that you're changed.
And it makes it so difficult to talk to people about coming to church, becoming a Christian, any of that stuff, because they see so many people out there that are acting like not Christians, but they're Christians. Do you notice the quotes there? Quotes.
So Matthew 23 is about hypocrisy.
Go ahead, let's read it out.
So I'm only going to read Matthew 23, 1 through 5.
1 through 5. 1 through 5.
I'm sure
1
you can
through
see that.
5.
Then Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples. The scribes and the Pharisees are seated in the chair of Moses. Therefore, do whatever they tell you and observe it. But don't do what they do, because whatever they tell you, because they don't practice what they teach. Sorry. They tie up heavy loads that are hard to carry and put them on people's shoulders. But they themselves aren't willing to lift a finger to move them. They do everything to be seen by others. They enlarge their, I don't even know what this big word is, phylacteries, and lengthen their tassels.
Okay, so first of all, phylacteries, they're like these little, back in those times, their tassels were part of their hats and everything that the Pharisees and the Sadducees wore. They wore these elaborate looking hat things, right? But the phylacteries were, it's like this little GoPro they had like on their head,
GoPro.
I'm serious, that's what it looks like. It looks like a GoPro. And so anyways, that's what that is. And so they have that on. So basically it's like saying I dress up in my Sunday best and I wear all this Jesus stuff so I can go to church and be like, oh, Father in heaven, thank you for blessing me and thank you for my walk with you being so wonderful and perfect. When in all actuality, it's the opposite.
So I think that even as a reflection in the church today and with leaders in general.
Yeah, I mean, leaders should be held to a higher standard, and leaders know that. Leaders know that.
Okay, so I just finished my master's degree, and one of the things...
Tell them, not me.
I finished my master's degree in June, so... and it's actually in leadership. Like, it's one of those, like, one of the books that we had to read was about leaders should always be a representation of what they're willing to do. So, basically... it's in school leadership. I'm a teacher.
Sorry, I heard the snore. Snore in between statements, yeah.
Because we're boring. So school leadership, is very similar to just leadership in general. Like, we should always be a representation of who we are, of our willingness to do other things even when it's hard, or even if it's a job that we don't really care to do, like we were talking about earlier, cleaning the toilets.
All the best managers that I've had in any of my jobs have been the ones that their attitude is, I will never ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. So if I ask you to clean the toilets, that's because I have these other things I need to do, not because I'm delegating it to you because I don't want to do that. It's I'm willing to do that. That's just an example. One of the things since I used to be kind of wild and crazy, even in my younger days, I know it's hard to believe, right? When I would go somewhere, a lot of times my father would say, have fun, and Philip, don't embarrass the family. That's true, though, in our Christian walk, right? Don't embarrass the family. So you go out and you act like the world, that's embarrassing the family, right? Because then they see that there's nothing different about you, and we're supposed to be different. We're not of this world. We're in this world, but not of this world. And so by being hypocritical, you are embarrassing the family, if you will. And even leaders in the church, that makes it even worse, honestly, in my opinion, because it's kind of like, oh, you're not just a leader when you're here at church. Just because you're not at that place doesn't mean that you're not that thing. Doesn't mean that you're not that leader. It's the same as when you leave the church, you're still a Christian, right? You're not just a Christian when you're at the church. Therefore, if you're a leader in any organization, you're not just a leader and represent that organization when you're there. It's all the time. All the time.
And that's really hard. Like, to see people that you look up to acknowledge, even if it's not in your church, even if it's just like in your daily workplace.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where.
Whatever it is, like, it's hard, and then you see them do something totally opposite or say something totally opposite than what they're supposed to represent. Like, that is one of my biggest things. Like, I just want genuine, authentic people. Mm-hmm. And if you're not being true to what God's purpose is for you, if you're not being true to who God made you to be, then those things can be like
could be a stumbling block for someone else.
Yeah, and so like, and I'm not saying that we're perfect, because by no means are we.
No, none of us are.
We're honest about those things. Like, we've talked to y'all about a lot of different things already, even in our podcast. So if you haven't checked out the podcast,
by the way, hey, I should listen to the podcast. Shameless plug right there. I should leave. I'm leaving.
Bye.
Not really.
But like, just be authentic. Like,
that's the thing,
who God has made you to be, and why does it matter about what everybody else thinks? Why does it matter about?
Well, my thing is that if you're going to, true Christianity is a change. In our podcast this week, we talk about Saul being changed, even going as far to change his name to Paul. And because it was that dramatic of a change, it really should be that dramatic of a change in all of us. That we, because we have this sin nature, mm-hmm. and we have such a desire to please God and to do what He wants us to do that we don't want to do those things anymore. We don't want to be doing whatever it is. We're all going to sin sometime, right? But we shouldn't want to do that. We shouldn't want to do these other things. And the hypocrisy, is part. It really is one of the largest stumbling blocks. When you invite your friends to church, fine, and they say no, 9 times out of 10, what is it? Well, you know, right. But it leads back to hypocrisy. It leads back to someone that they knew that claimed to be a Christian didn't act like a Christian should, and that turned them off from it. You know, one of the old sayings is, you don't want to meet your heroes. Why? Because they might be jerks. They might not be the heroic figure that you imagine them to be. Number one, hero being Jesus. Now, he's always going to live up to it, right? But number two, if you act like you're someone else's hero and that you don't want to be in that category of well, I wish I hadn't met my hero, you know. If you have kids, you are your kid's hero, you know. You really are, to some extent. At least if they're younger than teenagers, right? But really, you know, and they're always watching.
They are always watching.
Always watching. And so,
and like their years are they just absorb so much from their parents and adults that are around them. And so being a good representation to them so they know is really important.
Yep. And that's the thing, it's if you live a hypocritical life, then where's the most common place that's going to occur? The bad stuff's going to occur. It's going to be at home, right? When your kids see that, you know. I mean, the way that you raise them is that's the most important job that any of us would have, you know. So
like the things you say, the things you do, the things
and it's at work. It's at work too.
Act, all
you
of
act
those
at work,
things
you say, the way that you treat people. It's everything that you do. You need to do it as it. Look, people say, right? Hey, oh, Jesus is coming. Look busy. Be nice. Be nice. Jesus is coming. You know, be on your best behavior. It's like when the bigwigs come. You know, you're always on your best behavior. Act like that all the time. Act like that every day. Because Jesus is always watching.
But then you have also people who are like influential in your life. I think can influence you to behave in a way that you are hiding something because
people see that.
You don't want to show that to them because you're either embarrassed or
you're playing a different role.
You just are not being yourself.
Exactly. So authenticity really is what the hypocrisy video here actually comes back around to, is authenticity, because that is the opposite of hypocrisy, you know. It is authenticity.
And we are who we are.
I mean, my legs are not authentically human. There. That's me knocking on my leg there. You know, but the rest of me is authentic.
Even your no hands.
Hey everyone, guess what? I have no hands. In case you didn't see.
I mean, we are who we are, and that if you...
We are who we are. So, get out there and do the right thing.
All right. Well, y'all have a great day.
Hopefully you're not snoring like the dog.
Check out our podcast.
The Dysfunctional Podcast, because we put the fun in dysfunction. Woohoo! Also, TikTok, @NoHandsNewberry. Instagram, @NoHandsNewberry. What's the Facebook thingy?
@413productions.us.
Yep. That's also what this channel is. So hit this like, subscribe, all those buttons that I'm pointing to down here. Those, yeah, all these buttons down here, you know, like, subscribe, you know, everything. You know, all that.
Comment. Like, tell us how it is. If there's something you want to know. If there's anything. Like, we love to interact with y'all. So, feel free to comment and do all of those.
AMA all the time, okay, y'all? I'm always AMA, okay? Ask me anything. Boom. I got you.
All right.
I got you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.